This is the new Moto G73 5G that has just launched in India at rupees 18,999, 16,999 if you consider bank offers or exchange offers. So is this a good option under 20k? Let's find out. So first of all, this has the usual Motorola design, and that's not a bad thing because this is a phone that's fairly sleek at 8.29mm thickness and it's lightweight at 181 grams. This makes the G73 a very handy phone, and I've always kind of liked that about Motorola phones. The sleek design part, the back and frame are made of acrylic glass, aka PMMA, and it's a nice matte finish which is not a big fingerprint magnet. The phone also has the headphone jack, which is great, a hybrid dual SIM slot, so you can put in a micro SD card here. The fingerprint scanner is in the power button and it's fast. It also has stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support, and the speakers are actually very loud, and this whole design is IP52 rated for splash resistance. Coming to the front now, the display here is kind of debatable because this does not have AMOLED. Instead, this packs in an IPS LCD display that does have all the features. I mean, there's adaptive 120Hz refresh rate, so the display is smooth and can adapt from 30Hz to 120Hz depending on content on the screen. There's also HDR support, and there's Panda Glass protection, which brings protection equivalent to Gorilla Glass 3, and the display looks good. It's fairly vibrant, it's sharp, and it's decently bright. Now, if you ask me, Motorola has gone for IPS LCD in this phone to make sure they bring more powerful performance. I say that because the Moto G73 is the first phone in India to be powered by the new MediaTek Dimensity 930 chipset, which, if you don't know, is an overclocked version of the Dimensity 920. There's also 8GB LPDDR4X RAM and 128GB UMCP storage, which is similar to UFS 2.2 in speeds. Now, all of these specs are actually great for this price range because in this price range, a lot of phones come with either Snapdragon 695 or Snapdragon 4 Gen 1, and the Dimensity 930 in this phone is actually more powerful than those chipsets. I mean, here are the AnTuTu scores of the three chipsets, and you can see that the Dimensity 930 is more powerful. Now, here are the Geekbench scores, and you can see the difference in both single core and multi-core scores. Yes, the Dimensity 930 is actually really good for this price range, and the real-world performance of the G73 is great too. The phone is smooth and responsive, and gaming is good too, be it games like Asphalt or even more intensive games like Genshin Impact. See, the phone performs well and there are no heating issues. We even checked for throttling and there are no problems whatsoever. The cameras are another area where the G73 seems solid. There are two cameras here. A 50-megapixel main camera that has a pixel size of 2 microns with the ultra pixel binning tech. In fact, Motorola mentions that the sensor size is actually the same as the one used in its Edge 30 Pro. There's also an 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera which also works as a secondary depth sensor as well as a macro camera. So you know what? Brownie points to Motorola for not including any useless 2-megapixel sensors. Now, so far the photos we've taken with the main camera actually seem good. The photos are sharp and have good detail. The colors are also good and have a very natural tone, no oversaturation. The low light photos are also good. Thanks to the higher pixel size, the camera captures a lot of light, so low light photos are bright and sharp with very little noise. Apart from all this, the portrait mode seems good too. As for the ultra wide angle camera, it does manage to keep the color tone from the main lens, but its details are obviously a little lower. The front camera is a 16-megapixel sensor that does a fine job. Cameras apart, the software has been one area where Motorola phones have been great. But this time, Motorola is kind of taking a new direction. So the G73 comes with the latest Android 13 update, and it still looks and feels like stock Android. In fact, there are some new useful features too. There's Moto Secure, which brings all of the privacy features in one space. It has a secure folder where you can keep your private files and private apps. There's a pin scramble option that changes the pin layout every time, so nobody can just guess your pin just by looking. There's also family space, which is to create a private space for your kids. You can select the apps you want in the space, select the time duration, and that's it. This is a great feature for parents. Look, these new features are useful, but I was talking about the new direction Motorola is taking, right? Well, the G73 has these new folders pre-installed on the home screen. Now, these folders are supposed to automatically categorize your apps. For example, the games folder automatically takes up the games installed, but when you open up the folder, it shows you these recommendations on the bottom. Same is the case with the shopping folder, the entertainment folder. There's also a new Moto Hub widget on the home screen which shows you news, recommended deals, apps. Now, you can remove this widget, uninstall these folders, aka apps, but this is not something I was expecting Motorola to include. Anyway, as for updates, the G73 will get the Android 14 update and 3 years of security patches. Moving on, the Moto G73 has a big 5000 mAh battery and it comes with a 30-watt turbo power charger. And like most Moto phones, the G73 has all the features when it comes to connectivity. It has 13 5G bands with 5G support out of the box, no update required. It also has 3CA carrier aggregation, NFC support, which is rare in this price range, 4x4 MIMO, and Bluetooth 5.3. Look, to sum things up, I think Motorola is trying to bring better performance with the G73 under 20k with the new Dimensity 930 chipset. So you know what, this looks like a phone for people who are looking for a performance-oriented option under 20k. Plus, the camera seems good so far, the design is handy, and the battery is big. Apart from this, one key change is Motorola taking a new direction in terms of software, and I want to see how users take up to this new move. Anyway, I want to know from you guys, what do you think about the Moto G73 5G at 18,999, 16,999? Comment down below.